Well, welcome to the Photobug. Today we have a special guest with us. We got an author, a photographer, Ben Geier. And Ben, thank you for coming. And where are you located?
Just outside of Chicago, Batavia. So it's about 45 minutes west of Chicago.
Chicago. Okay, so coming to us from Illinois, we got Ben Geier. And we appreciate you taking the time to come and talk to us today. I think our viewers are going to be interested in your photography. But first, we'd like to hear about a little bit about yourself and how you got interested in photography.
So I kind of have like a bizarre, not a bizarre, interesting start to it because I was always a designer. I really got into just photographing bands in the very beginning. I used to play music in like independent, like punk rock type bands. And because I would always do the artwork for, the album covers or show flyers or whatever, I always just got tasked with, doing the photography. So really, it started there. I started with like a Canon 35 millimeter, and it just kind of slowly turned into like a passion of mine. And I focused so much on kind of Americana photography or roadside photography now, but that really didn't start until probably like over the pandemic, maybe.
So you shot
early pandemic.
You go back to the film days then.
So yeah, I do. I mean, for the band stuff, for the music stuff, somewhere in between, I started shooting digital.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have to ask, what instrument did you or do you still play?
Drums.
Brother!
Fred's a drummer.
You as well?
Yes.
And I play at the guitar.
Okay, awesome. Okay, awesome.
I love your shirt, by the way. It's one of my favorite movies.
Thank you. Same. It's such a great
I
movie.
think I grew up with those kids, so that's...
Yeah, the soundtrack for that movie is incredible, too.
Oh, the movie.
Yeah.
The song Stand By Me.
So anyway, you were doing... We'll get back on the task here.
Right.
You were doing film with band, and then later on you started doing other photography that led you into digital. And then what?
So I've gone through like so many different phases of photography.
Okay.
It started as like a musical thing when I actually I liked doing photography so much that like I was like, oh, maybe I can start shooting landscapes. So that was a focus for a really long time, was shooting landscapes. But being in Illinois, like one of the flattest states in the U.S., it was kind of
Florida is kind of flat too.
We have our hilly regions in the middle of the state.
Well,
The state.
100-foot hills.
Yeah,
Above
300
sea
feet
level.
above sea level. You gotta.
Floridians get nosebleeds. I'm sorry, we interrupted you.
Oh, you're all good. Yeah, so it was just kind of a terrible state to do landscape photography. So I found myself only doing it when I would, be traveling for vacations or for work or something along those lines. So I was like, oh man, I really need to, kind of try something different so that I'm getting out of the house more every weekend. So for a bit, I was doing more of the like abandoned photography, but I felt more at home when I started doing the kind of roadside stuff. I mean, a lot of it is abandoned as well, but it just there's so much of it in Illinois, and it's just good to every weekend just get in the car and kind of take a road trip to find some of the stuff.
And that kind of leads us into that you've done so well with it. You've got a new book coming out, or is it already out?
It came out, 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Okay, so the book is out.
Still hot off the press. There you go.
And it's Trope Publishing. It's available on all the major booksellers, Amazon, etc. You want to give us the title there?
Yeah, Viewing Hours.
Viewing Hours. And this is basically a book on these roadside attractions, as you said, some abandoned, some that are still active.
Basically,
and it's across the Midwest?
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I think there's a total like maybe 15 or 16 states throughout it. And the whole idea for the book was more so just um, it's so many of these places are disappearing like so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so I really wanted to just document it before they're just completely gone forever. And like I think there's maybe 32 or 34 theaters within the book. And I think four of them are already gone, like since it's
Right.
since I took the shots and since the book came out.
Well, then you're capturing a disappearing Americana, which is kind of cool
Yeah.
when you think
Yeah,
about
so
it.
that was kind of the idea, was just to capture all this stuff before, document it before it's gone.
Kind of like our friend over in Tampa, that's capturing things the way they used to be in Ybor City, and
Right.
So,
So, but that's a very interesting point of view that you took as far as your photography, and it's I think people will probably enjoy, especially if they've ever seen any of these or know about them, to get the chance to see them
I think
enshrined
that's
and captured, and yeah,
right. I mean, I think that's one of the cool elements that happens with a lot of my photography is especially like theaters. It's like this is the theater that I went to like growing up as a kid.
right.
I saw like hundreds of movies there, and I'm scrolling through my feed and I see it, and it's like such a good memorable place for them. And that's not just for theaters, but like some of the restaurants. I got a story where it's like, oh, that's where I proposed to my wife, or first date, with my wife was like at that restaurant, and now it's gone.
so I take
So
it these are not just theaters or roadside attractions, that you include restaurants and other things,
yeah,
shopping
so there.
centers, or
So it's the book is divided into six chapters. One focuses on storefronts, another restaurants, roadside, motels, signs, and theaters. So basically, everything that you would kind of encounter like on a road trip.
Okay.
and you
Yeah,
do you predetermine when you're going in to shoot something, or you just happen to find these and it's kind of a
it's mixed. I definitely have a plan. Like I see so many people post places on Instagram or just Flickr, or I see lots of like good locations, and I'm always just collecting them on Google Maps. I have like a whole just thousands of locations on Google Maps, um, and when I get enough organized in like a single location, I'll just make a weekend trip out of it. Just head to that location, and I know that I know that I'm going to shoot 20 spots on that trip, or that day, but I find so much along the way. So much of it is just small little like vestiges of retro Americana that just exists down like a side street, or just behind a building. So a lot of it is just kind of just trying to discover a lot of these places too. But I definitely take these trips with like locations in mind.
Yeah. But
Right.
with all the stuff that you had available to photograph, how did you lay out your book? I mean, that's a lot of material, I'm sure, that you had to go through.
We should mention that you just now have a book out, Trope Publishing, and you said it was just recently published,
Yeah, about 2 weeks
available
ago.
on all the bookstores, Amazon, etc. Is that correct?
Yep. Sorry, what was the question though? How did I lay out? So yeah, I started taking photos for the book in 2017, not knowing that it was going to be in a book. So when I was in conversation with Trope, the publisher, at the very beginning, they were like, is there more that you want to go shoot, or like do you have everything? And I'm like, well, I could always go shoot more. I could never stop, but I have more than enough to make a book. And really focused on the idea of, I mean, so many of the photos that I have taken are from Route 66, and I do feel like Route 66, there's so many books out there that have done it.
Oh yeah.
So we really wanted to focus on all the other locations and not make it a Route 66 book. So the more that I just kind of like culled through like everything that I had, I feel like those I have divided out into 6 chapters. I feel like those 6 chapters really kind of just started to like form themselves. Um, so yeah, I'm not sure like exactly when I had the idea of splitting it up into, the 6 chapters, which are storefronts, restaurants, roadside motels, signs, and theaters.
I want people to go out there and check out viewing hours, right? Trope Publishing, Ben Geier. But the question is, for those photographers that might feel they have a book in them, did you approach Trope, or did they approach you, or how did you go about putting your book together?
Yeah, Trope approached me. Uh, the president CEO of Trope Publishing, his name is Sam. I used to work with Sam probably 15, 16 years ago. I worked with him for like 8 years, and it was at a design agency. He used to run a place called Design Kitchen. So we've always just loved each other's photos and work. But yeah, so Sam just approached me, saying like, "Hey, we should do a book."
So the secret is make sure you have a friend that's in the publishing industry.
Right.
Well, that's fantastic. But this book, I should also mention, this is not just Illinois. You actually went all over the Midwest. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think there's a total of like 15 or 16 states. Yeah, a lot in the Southwest region, and then a lot in the Midwest.
And do you pre-plan when you go out to photograph these sites, or do you run into them by accident?
It's a little bit of a combination of both. I definitely collect locations on like a Google map so that I have an idea of areas that I want to go to. Usually I'll wait till, like a region of Iowa or something like that, and that I have, say, 20 locations in a region of Iowa, and I'll make a trip out there. And I'll make it like a weekend of it. But I think half the stuff that like I end up photographing is stuff that I just find along the way, or find on the back streets throughout each small rural town.
Do you do any online searching, Google or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think Instagram. I follow a lot of people that do similar stuff to me that are focused on roadside photography, or just vintage like neon signs. So I feel like we all kind of trade locations, or we have they'll post something that I've never seen before, and I'll ask them about it. So I get a lot of like tips that way. Flickr is like a really great resource for a lot of vintage stuff. But with Flickr, you kind of never know if it's still around.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the photos that you'll see are from 2004 or 2008 or something. So you just don't know if it's still around or not. So you have to kind of do your research a little bit. But I mean, Google's so great for that. With Street View, it's like you can pretty much see any rural like towns, the whole layout and everything that's still in there.
Yep. Well, there's something that we always ask our photographers that come in. What advice would you give to a new or even a existing photographer? You see particular mistakes, or if you were going to give advice to somebody, what would that be? Whether or not they're trying any type of photography.
Yeah, I would say, like it took me a while to figure out like where I felt most comfortable doing photos. So I would say to just kind of keep on, like exploring different kind of like subject matters. You know, like I've always had like this love for photography, but you know, landscape photography was kind of like difficult for me. That was more so just based on location, but you know, I've always had a hard time with portrait photography. Like I'm just not good at it. Um, but I felt really comfortable in the roadside, kind of like retro Americana photography because it speaks to me in a way that like all the rest of them don't. So my advice is just to kind of keep exploring like different different styles of photography until you really feel the most comfortable.
Good answer. I think that people also would is going to find your book fascinating. Flipping through it on the Trope website, you got
Yeah.
some really amazing captures there.
Yeah, yeah, thank you.
You got anything, Fred, that you want to?
Hmm. No, can't think of anything specific. I want to start talking music, but that's not what we're here for. Because you know,
And
We got a drum session going here.
anytime you meet a fellow musician, it's always nice, especially if they play the same instrument. So I will ask
well,
this.
actually, I feel like so much of what's in my book is like inspired by music.
All right,
Which is
cool. Yeah.
which is like an interesting angle. Like, um, yeah, but feel like when I pitched it to Trope, they were like, "Oh, we're not totally sure we like understand it." So the guy that I had write the foreword, his name is Mark Robinson. He played in like a '90s band called Unrest that I was like a massive fan of when I was in like when I was a teenager. Um, he runs a label called Teen Beat, and again, like tons of bands on that label that I really love. And he would always just do the designs for like every record cover. So I reached out to him because I've been such a huge fan of his design work and the fact that he's a musician, and that he was the singer and guitarist in one of my favorite bands. So he wrote the foreword for the book, which I think is just such a cool. It was so cool to get him to do it, but the similarities in how we both got into design and music and all that are they're almost like parallels. It's really kind of crazy.
Well, you've found things that mesh with each other, and it's interesting
Yeah.
because I in some ways I feel the same as far as how music influences me with my photography. So just
Yeah.
it makes it interesting, and some people would understand it. Others kind of look at you with that. They're nodding at you, but it's kind of a blank look. So I think see where you're coming from on that. But you have that added piece of design, which was the thing that the glue actually that pulled it all together, and that's what we find interesting. I would think,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Well, do you have
Yeah,
anything? I was going to say, you got any final words of wisdom that you want to give it to anybody out there?
I don't think so. I mean, I feel like the question before about what advice, I think it kind of covered it.
How about a website? Do you have a website?
Yeah, so it's just bengeier.com.
Okay, we're going to put that down here, down below. We'll post that in here. Make sure people
Okay.
are encouraged to go out. And you said you're
Yeah.
also on Flickr and I assume Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram. I don't really have an account on Flickr. I just kind of use it as
Okay, as a
source.
basis source.
But yeah, like I'm on Instagram and the Adobe Behance platform and Blue Sky. But yeah, basically all the social platforms.
Well, good. Well, we're going to give you a virtual handshake here. And
Yeah,
thank
appreciate
you
it.
again for taking time and putting up with our technical issue that we had.
No, I appreciate it.
His
Yeah,
fault.
Thank you.
Yeah. So thanks again, and we want everybody to go out there and check Ben Geier and check your book out on Americana. Again, we're going to put the title down here so people can go out and check that out. So thank you again, Ben. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hi, well, we hope you enjoyed our video, and if you did, please go down there and hit the like button, and please subscribe to us.
That's right.
Leave a comment too. That would be great.
Yeah, and if you want to be notified about future videos, hit the little bell too.
Ding.